Hello. In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to prepare our file to be laser cut so that we can assemble a model out of a Rhino, a physical model out of a Rhino generated model. I have a set of curves right here that I'm going to loft and produce a 3D model out of these. So these are the set of curves I have right now. So if you look at the right-hand side, you see a set of curves that are almost identical, but rescaled. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select them, and I'm going to select the 2D rotate icon, or I can just simply type rotate on the command bar, and I will be ready to start rotating. So I'm going to click on rotate right here, and it says choose the center of rotation. So it doesn't really matter the center of the rotation, because all I want right now is to just move them from horizontal curves to vertical curves so that it becomes a bit more visible. So this, I'm going to click on my shift button on my keyboard so that I can choose the correct axis that I would like to rotate. So I want this axis to be moved so that it looks like this. So right now, this is how my model looks like. Obviously, it's below the 0 line. So I'm going to take this set of curves again, and I'm going to click on the move button so that I can move my objects vertically from below the grid line to above the grid line. So I'm going to move them slightly more so that they're clearly visible on this view right here. I'm going to choose the loft command. And as we said, for loft command to work, we need at least 3 curves. We can have more, but we need at least 3. Right now, I have around 6 or 7 curves, maybe 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 curves. And I'm going to start selecting these curves. These points are almost on the same location with reference to the curve, and all the points are in the same direction. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to accept the default options, and I have my curve or my object ready to be dissected into some curves that will allow the assembly of such a model into a physical model. However, before I do that, you can see that I have this hole inside that I need to get rid of. So to do that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to type on the command line planner surf. So planner SRF, and I'm going to select this curve that made up the hole, which is the last curve. And I'm going to click on curve on my menu. And once I'm done, I'll hit enter. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. Of course, I could have done both of them in the same command, but we just wanted to make it a bit clearer. Right now, I can go ahead, if I want to, I can go ahead and start erasing my curves. However, I highly recommend that you keep a copy on the side. So I'm gonna select this object, and I'm gonna copy and paste it somewhere. Sorry, I'm gonna copy paste it here, and then I'm gonna move it from this side to this side, so that just so I have an extra copy just in case. Okay, let's do this from this elevation. There seems to be a problem with my computer. Okay, there. So right now I have 2 identical copies. Of course, if I have this on a different layer, then I can easily turn it off, or I can isolate it. Right now, I don't mind it being there. Alternatively, I can go to my views and hide it or turn it off. So I'm going to go ahead now and select my curves to delete them. So one by one, and I'm going to be clicking on the shift button. So I add to the selection. And the last one, and I'm going to hit the delete button. Right now, this object is just surfaces with no curves. The next thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going to my surface, and then, sorry, a curve, and then my curve menu at the top, and then I'm gonna choose contours, sorry, curve from objects, which is right here at the bottom, and then I'm gonna choose contour. So that's curve menu, then curve from objects, and then I'm gonna choose contour. Now the command line says select objects for contours. So I want the contours to be generated out of this surface, out of this object. So I'm going to select all my surfaces and all my objects. Once I'm done, I'm going to right click on my mouse, and then it says select the base point. So along which elevation do you want these curves to be divided? So I want it to be divided, say, if I want it vertically, then I have to choose this plane right here. Let's just make sure that I'm snapping to the right point. And I am. And then it says distance between the contours. So how far away do you want your object to be? Obviously, we need, because we're building it in physical material, I need to make sure that the intervals between the curves are consistent with the depth, with the thickness of the material. So if my material is 3 millimeters, then this is where I'm going to be typing 3 millimeters. If it was 6 millimeters, then I'll have to type 6 millimeters and so on. Right now, because of the scale we're working with, obviously this is not an object to scale, so I'm going to keep it at 1. So in this case, if my material is 1 millimeter long or 1 millimeter thick, sorry, then I'm going to have to decide the intervals or define the distance between the contours to be 1. I'm going to click on 1 and hit enter. And now you can notice that I have a new set of curves that are consistent with the shape of my object. So I'm going to select this surface and delete them. And now you can see that I have these sets of curves that if I cut and I assemble my material that is one unit or 1 millimeter thick, I should be ending up with exactly the same material. So all I have to do right now is take these, maybe rotate them so that they can be flat. So I'm going to go to my rotate, icon. Sorry, I clicked on move. This is my rotate icon. And I'm going to go to the right side just so I don't snap to something that messes things up. And I want this, I'm clicking again on my shift button. I want this axis to be moved so that it is along the horizontal line. And you can see that these curves are now right here. If I look there, so they're flat on a surface. Now, all I have to do is manually, unfortunately, start moving them around so that they are on a flat surface. And I'm going to have to start doing this manually again. And so I have a set of curves that I have to arrange on a flat surface or on a plane so that I can take it to AutoCAD. From there, I can edit my surfaces and I can edit my layers and send them to the laser cutter as per the workshop or the training that we have received earlier this week. I hope this is clear. If you have any questions, please let me know and I'll be happy to answer them.